leading the show today. Two suspects, Malone Lamb and Jendile Serrano, were arrested for their roles in a $230 million cryptocurrency heist. Laundering the funds using exchanges and mixers, they gained access to victims' accounts through impersonation and laundered the stolen funds to finance a lavish lifestyle. Despite efforts to cover their tracks using privacy coins and VPNs, their mistakes in their operational security led to their identification and arrest by the FBI. That and many, many more stories tonight. Episode 17,000, episode 1768 is coming to this Monday, September 23rd. I'm your host, Todd Cochran, ready to deliver your tech news and informational fix. A quick shout out to our incredible sponsors at GoDaddy. You can always score exclusive deals and discounts at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And to all our fantastic listeners, you are the heartbeat of this show. If you want to support the GNC mission, head to geeknewscentral.com/insider and become a GNC insider. Of course, we're lit and live thanks to modern podcast apps. Don't just listen. Experience the show live by grabbing a modern podcast app at podcastapps.com. You can interact in real time and take your podcasting experience to the next level. And while you're at it, check out the full Geek News Central universe. This is the best part. Check out the full Geek News Central universe at geeknewscentral.com. Helps if I have the right button pushed. At geeknewscentral.com. And of course, you'll find all our partner shows and tons of content and more tech goodness. Stay in the loop, follow or subscribe via your favorite listener app, and join the community. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter for even more insider scoop. And you have something to say? Join the conversation at geeknews.chat or email geeknews@gmail.com. Of course, you can hit me up on X at Geek News, and you can even catch me on Facebook. Of course, a massive thank you to GoDaddy, the longest continuous running sponsor of podcasts, keeping the savings rolling and the tech flowing. You can grab their best deals at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. So sometimes I forget to hit a few buttons. And tonight was just that fact. But the GoDaddy deal is available live and well. And really, if you're ready to score big, and this is the important thing here, if you're ready to score big, this is how you go. How about a brand new domain name for just $11.99? Or level up with economy hosting for only $6.99 a month. And that includes a free domain, professional email, and an SSL certificate, all for the first year. Want even more power? No problem. Grab Managed WordPress hosting for just $12.99 a month with all those same perks, a free domain, email, and SSL certificate included. And if you're on the fence, don't sweat it. Take GoDaddy's website builder for a free 1-month test drive. Whether you're building something personal or launching the next big thing in business, GoDaddy's got your back. Now, here's the best part. When you hit up geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, you're not just grabbing a deal. You're supporting real creators and helping keep small businesses alive, or a small business alive. No weird tracking, no hidden codes, just real savings for real people. Shout out to GoDaddy for always keeping Geek News Central running strong. You should be ready to lock in your savings by heading over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, and let's get building. So started the show off great tonight until I flipped the switch on the video and the screen was black. Oh man, it never ends. There's something here. A lot of moving parts, but you have to make sure the screen converter is turned on so that things show up on the right screen when you hit the right button. So it's life. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I hope you're doing well. So my last cabinet came in on Saturday, and I spent a couple hours putting it together. So that's all set. Now I've got all the storage space I need, and not everything is full. I'm pretty happy. Really, what this really does is wrap up phase 1 completely. Phase 2 is done completely. Phase 3 is essentially now I'm going to, over the next weekend, consolidate what's left from storage unit 2, put it in storage unit 1. I've got some furniture to deliver, and really I'm done. I'm really kind of set and ready to transition to my next location. Meanwhile, the security door, the carpenter showed up today, and my security door went in. They got to go get a few pieces, but he laughed. He says, "This door's got a like a so many minute fire protection." I'm like, "Well, the whole building will have been burnt down, and this door will, be standing still." So, I think we don't have to worry about the fire security. But he said, "I don't want anybody to be coming with a crowbar and be able to easily remove this thing from it." So they put lag bolts in that are like, I want to say 6, 7, 8 inches. It's in there, and we've got it set up with a protective cover so that someone can't get in and bump the jam and a bunch of other stuff. Now, if I ever have to break into the door, if I lose the keys or the security code, I'm probably going to have to, use a torch and cut a hole in this thing. That's about the only way we're going to get in. But we bought some cool hinges for the door that allows it to help it kind of softly close too. So once I walk out, if I got my hands full, I don't have to worry about going back downstairs and pulling it shut. So tomorrow, alarm setup is going to happen. I've got my security system that I got to go pick up from the storage shed, and then I'm going to relocate some cameras, and then we're good. We're locked and loaded and ready to bunker down. And I'll probably do a final video of some sorts. And share it. I don't know where I'm going to put it exactly, but I'll take a video of the final setup that I've got here and everything that I've been up to. I think total money I spent on the move and getting everything, the truck, basically everything so far. I'm probably to get everything reconfigured, extra storage cabinets, not counting my labor, the new light stand. I'm probably in about $3,000, so not too bad to make the transition. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new cabinets I bought, and some stuff that was repurposed. Everything's pretty much full, but I actually have storage in a tall cabinet here. So I couldn't be happier with the way everything is set up at this point. So I think this will probably be one of the last updates I give you on the studio, on the transition here. But yeah, so anyway, let's go ahead and get into the show. We got a great lineup of content tonight. I do still have emails to send to to Sam, and also, how many of you on this new version? How many of these of you on this new version of the Mac software have been dealing with having to give permission to browsers and stuff all the time? It's asking for permission to do things. Just randomly pops up. Do you want Chrome to be able to do this? Do you want this software to do this? Do you want to? And I'm like, yes. Quit asking me. Now, what's the number? I think all of us, if you go and rob a bank, right? Not that any of us would, but if you went and robbed a bank, we've seen this on the main screen, but what do you do with that money? You don't spend it. You sit on it, right? You be very, very careful. You don't want to live outside of your means. Unless you got a way to perfectly launder that money. If you've robbed a bank, the U.S. government is very, very good at saying all of a sudden, wow, that individual making this kind of salary is all of a sudden living a millionaire lifestyle. Well, these two knuckleheads, 20-year-old Malone Lamb, and what a name, a.k.a. Greasy / Annie Hathaway and SSS, and 21-year-old Giando Serrano, a.k.a. Box, a.k.a. Versace God, and a.k.a. Skid Star, were arrested by the FBI and appeared in court last Thursday. During a successful cybercrime attack on August 18th, they stole more than 4,100 Bitcoin from a Washington, D.C. victim worth more than $230 million at the time. They did this by social engineering. But they laundered the cryptocurrency via a combination of crypto mixers, exchanges using peel chains, I don't even know what that is, pass-through wallets, and virtual private networks. Well, I guess they did a good job of semi-laundering it, but one of these idiots had his screen name on some screen share with somebody, but they bought, they did international travel, they bought luxury cars, they bought high-end watches, designer handbags, nightclub outings in Los Angeles and Miami, living large. Well, crypto fraud investigator Zach XBT, who assisted in the official investigators, identified the third alleged conspirator, known as Wiz, as he revealed that the group targeted a creditor of cryptocurrency exchange Genesis, used spoof phone numbers, and impersonated Google and Gemini customer support to compromise accounts. But again, they laundered this money all over the place. But Zach XBT revealed that one of these individuals caught after exposing his real name during a screen sharing session, and they actually have the screen share on this article over at bleepingcomputers.com. Additionally, while most funds were converted to Monero for added anonymity, these two individuals reportedly made critical errors linking their laundered funds to the original stolen amounts. So they arrested these two individuals after tracking their lavish spending and social media posts from friends that revealed their locations in Los Angeles and Miami. So they're having a good time, and they weren't posting stuff, but their friends were. Hey, I'm looking here with so-and-so, and he had 82 bottles or whatever it was. So you're going to steal $230 million in crypto. You better go pretty dark. Very, very quickly. And it's just amazing, they had a run here. Yeah, they had about a month, just about a month of, living large on the lam. So, now they're facing big boy charges, and they're going to face the consequences of that going forward. So I got a couple of articles tonight. They're a little bit wowza. And it shows you the threat of money and the threat of jail time makes people change their mind just a little bit. Telegram CEO Durov says app to provide more data to governments. Yes, Telegram is going to provide more data to governments. So what exactly does that mean? Well, the messaging app Telegram will provide users IP addresses, phone numbers to relevant authorities in response to valid legal requests. The platform changes terms of service to deter criminals from abusing it, he said in a post on Telegram Monday. I guess he gets out of jail. The move comes less than a month after his arrest in France, where he faces charges of alleged complicity in the spread of child sexual abuse material. The move represents a marked difference from Telegram's approach to government requests for data and its reputation for lax moderation. The UAE-based platform has been notoriously non-responsive to takedown requests. The app, using AI and a team of moderators, now begin to conceal problematic content from its search results as part of its effort to prevent misuse. So he's been still remained in France during the investigation, and he's, of course, drawn the ire of governments ranging from the EU to authoritarian regimes like Russia and Iran. So anyway, he's changed his tune just a little itty bitty bit. Now, what's curious here, and this is just a separate story completely, and it's nothing to do with tech, but over the weekend while I was relaxing and not building new furniture, which really didn't take that long, but I saw something about this new immigration policy in Russia where, like, you can come in and buy land. And I mean, they've got all these, they've opened the country up, and a bunch of people are moving to Russia, which is, I find, remarkable. Considering, Putin can change his mind at any time, but they're moving there and buying land and building houses. And, having seen some videos, your dollar, I don't know how they even convert it with what's going on these days, but your money would go an incredibly much longer ways there. House prices are about a third. Land in different places where they have quote unquote settlements are very inexpensive, but there's a whole crazy, and I was amazed at some of the stuff that's going on over there from he's trying to get people to come into the country, which I find ironic. But they don't want certain types of individuals in the country, and I'll leave you to discover that on your own, what they're basically not wanting to come in to the country. So, just crazy times, and if you look at the sanctions that are on, it doesn't look like it's affecting Russia at all. It looks like it's business as normal there, to be frank. But meanwhile, and in a turn of fate here, Elon Musk is giving up the fight in Brazil and starts complying with judges' demands. This reversal must prove compliance before they can be reinstated, but they're rolling over. And I'm be honest with you, I'm quite disappointed in this action. So apparently he's conceding defeat here in his fight with the Brazil Supreme Court Judge Alexandre de Moraes. And X is going to start complying with the judge's demands and attempt to get the service unblocked in the country. And they previously refused to suspend dozen accounts accused of spreading disinformation. And of course, internet service providers have been blocking X under orders from the government. And we know that they seized $2 million from a Starlink bank account and $1.3 million from an X account to collect on fines issued to X already. And X is still claiming that the order violates Brazil's own laws, but in a reversal detail in a court filing, X's lawyer said the company had done exactly what Mr. Musk vowed not to take down accounts that a Brazilian justice order removed because the judge said they threatened Brazil's democracy. The New York Times reported X also complied with the justice's other demands, including paying fines and naming a new former representative of the country. The lawyer said X said last month that his previous legal representative resigned because he had threatened her with imprisonment. And according to Reuters, it was not immediately clear which were the accounts X had been ordered to block, but it has been reported that many of the accounts belong to supporters of former President Jair Bolsonaro, who was accused of instigating the January 8th, 2023 attack on Brazilian Congress after the election loss. Some of the accounts reported belong to users accused of threatening federal police officers involved in a probe. De Moraes acknowledged X about face that X must submit documents proving its compliance before it can be reinstated. And so this is very, very curious. Very, very, very curious that there's a reversal here. And I'll be interested to hear Elon's take on this on the interwebs in the near future. I watched a 1 hour interview with him. Jason Calacanis was one of the moderators. It was pretty amazing. It was a pretty amazing interview and covered a wide range of topics. Probably nothing that's too outside the norm of what we've talked about here on the show, but it was an interesting interview for sure. Now, in bigger news, the current President Biden administration is seeking to ban on auto software from China. Now listen to this. they're seeking a ban on auto software. They announced a comprehensive ban to ban Chinese software and some hardware from internet-connected cars in the U.S. This is being framed as a national security measure, with the administration stating that this software poses new threats to our national security, including through our supply chain. This is the same reason behind a recent ban of telecommunications equipment from Chinese companies like Huawei and ZTE. In that case, the claims had teeth as documents reportedly showed how Huawei was involved in the country's surveillance efforts. Today's announcement goes on to say that China could use critical tech from connected cars within our supply chains for surveillance sabotage to undermine national security. The rules announced today go beyond mere software. It would also cover any piece, listen to this, it would also cover any piece of hardware that connects a vehicle to the outside world, which includes Bluetooth, cellular, Wi-Fi, and satellite components. It also includes cameras, sensors, and onboard computers. The software ban would go into effect in model year 2027, with the related hardware prohibition starting in model year 2030. The proposed ban also includes Russian auto software. The country has a fairly robust EV industry, but primarily for domestic use. There's nothing in Russia that's globally lusted after like cheap EVs from Chinese companies like BYD. While this proposed ban is primarily for internet-connected software, it would effectively block all Chinese auto imports. This software is pretty much baked in, as are the items of hardware that allow connectivity. It's already tough to get one of these vehicles stateside due to recent tariffs, but this would make it nearly impossible. Government officials, however, stated have held steadfast that this is a move to improve national security and not to ban cheaper EVs from another market. Connected vehicles and tech they use bring new vulnerabilities. Well, just block the EVs. They're cheap and they burn up. They went on to reference something called Volt Typhoon, which is an alleged Chinese effort to insert malicious code into American power systems, pipelines, and other critical infrastructures. U.S. officials have feared this program could be used to cripple American military bases in the event of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. So this is probably what it really boils down to, is they don't want the Chinese to have a backdoor into any product that comes here. This is going to be pretty hard to to unravel, to be honest with you. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this development. The FCC is charging AT&T $1.46. Yes, $1.46 for every person that got their data stolen. So that is what your privacy is worth, ladies and gentlemen, is $1.46. They are fined $13 million for a data breach involving customer data stored in a cloud. Yes, $1.46. Doesn't that make you just happy? At the same time, Dell is confirming an investigation to a data breach after employees' info was leaked. The hacker says they stole employee info on more than 10,000 people. So this happened late last week. A threat actor with the alias of Grep posted a new thread on the infamous dark web forum breach forums. In it, they offered a Dell database for sale. And we know in September 2024, Dell suffered a minor breach of data, exposed internal employee data. So we'll see. And if this database turns out to be legitimate, this could be a problem for Dell, since the information can be used for identity theft, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, I think our names, I have a tracking service that I use to see how many times my name comes up and information breaches. And it's rare. It's rare that it goes more than a couple of weeks. And it's usually old data. Nothing current, and I've been pretty hardcore on making sure that I have two-factor authentication turned on where I can. I do very difficult passwords that are computer generated. They're about 25 characters long. So there's no in itself. I have taken it pretty seriously, and sometimes I see stuff that comes through that definitely has older passwords, which is curious, but stuff is still out there. So two-factor stuff as much as you can, I think, is important for you to do so. Johnny Ive and OpenAI Sam Altman are working on a top secret AI device. I think we've heard a little bit about this already. But again, you know that Ivy designed the iPhone and iPad, and Altman, who is the top dog at ChatGPT, working on this device, and few details are known about the AI device, but Ivy and Altman have already raised funds for the project from investors, including Lawrence Powell. So the company was co-founded by Mark Newson, a well-known luxury designer who worked on the Apple Watch. They employ a bunch of other former employees, but they got about $1 billion in money. Newson told the Times that what the product would be and when it would be released were still being determined. And the partnership started over a number of dinners when Ivy and Altman discussed the power of AGI. And of course, we know that there is a number of devices out there. The $700 Humane AI pin, which is not to had a lot of great reviews. The $199 Rabbit, which I have, is it's just, it's going to end up on my wall back here as a prop. I bought it right after CES, and let's just be frank, it's not that great. I about once a month I power it up and update it, and try to use it a little bit, and it's not that good. If you hate in-person meetings, well, apparently they cost thousands and lost productivity. I think in-person meetings are great for collaboration. Is in-person mean on Zoom, or does that mean in office together? A new report by Zoom has revealed that in-person meetings are both the most unpopular and least productivity. Over a third of leaders lose more than an hour per day resolving problems caused by poor teamwork, which could be costing business up to £12,000 per year per manager. Perhaps the least surprising news from reporters, they claim that teams who use more than 10 apps are twice as likely to spend hours or more resolving collaboration issues. Well, we don't do that. We have a very small handful of apps that we use. All generations, except baby boomers, prefer non-face-to-face collaboration, such as project management software or instant messaging. However, in-person sessions still top the charts for boomers. Gen Z are the most burdened by follow-ups, taking an hour per day on project statuses. Now, what we do now, and this is just a little collaborative thing that I've learned, is I use a tool to record our meetings, not all. Like when we're doing strategy and when we are doing coming up with a plan and there's a lot of minute details, I record that, and then I use an app to summarize and pull out the action items. And it's really, really good. A meeting that we had today that was about 45 minutes, I ended up with about 3 paragraphs of summary, and then it identified speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3 had 3-4 action items each. I dropped that into a project document. The collaborators can go in and they can take care of their pieces, check off and put notes and say, here's what I owed from the meeting, blah blah blah. It just drives super efficiency when you are working on a project and you have a plan and you know where you're going from point A to point B. So it's a combination of things. Now, to boost efficiency, of course, some are turning to AI. 74% of leaders feel this makes them more productive. I do. Asynchronous collaboration methods like shared documents are preference. I'm always behind in reviewing documents, so that for me is a challenge. But again, I think the productivity boost I'm getting is really, really fantastic. And you tie this into project management process. If you have one, and it just works really, really, really good, at least for me. And that's doing Zoom in person together. YouTube Premium subscribers are reporting price hikes around the globe. And this is affecting users in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. that premium is getting more expensive, and I think we've already kind of know this because prices went up in the United States. The price increases affect both individual and family plans. In some EU countries, people said they were told their family plans will be going from 17.99 euros to 25.99 euros, or 11.99 euros to 13.99 euros for individuals starting on November 7th. Posts on social media reporting similar increases in prices in Singapore, Colombia, Saudi Arabia. A Reddit user is tracking amounts in one thread that their link will be up to in the show notes. And another Reddit user posted screenshots of a premium light plan option accompanied by a beta tag. YouTube had started piloting a version of premium with fewer features than a standard plan in 2021, but told customers last year was discontinue it. So what is this premium light plan? And of course, here in the United States, we went from $11.99 to $13.99 on the family plan. Went to $22.99 from $17.99. So which plan are you on? Are you on individual plan? Are you on a family plan? I'm pretty curious. Hey, I do want to take just a second here and thank our insiders. I definitely appreciate your ongoing support. Curtis Parrish with his $5 sustaining donation. Christian Petrie with his $3 a month donation. Mike Dell's World for his $2 donation. And Daniel Lemux for his $10.80. And Daniel, I apologize. I think I destroy your name every time. Lemay, his $10.80 donation. We had no boost from the modern podcast apps. So no new boost there, but we have had Pestmerk and others. Let's see who else. Brian as well. And we had 20 Sats Anonymous coming in. So we have had a number of folks that have been streaming the show live and streaming Sats to the show. So I definitely appreciate those of you that are doing that. But no boost. So make sure you hit that boost button. We've got the boost system wired. We got it wired into the platform right now. And you will be able to hear a boost come in. It'll go pew. You'll be able to hear it. So don't be afraid to boost. For those of you that may be listening live, we definitely appreciate it. If you are live today, and the live stream today, man, we're down. No one loves me anymore. But anyway, you can support the show live as well, sending your comments in. We definitely appreciate it when you do. Of course, we've already heard that Elon Musk's dream of launching 5 starships to Mars in 2 years. And just like robotaxis, actual full driving center in just a few years. Starship was yet to make it to orbit and land without exploding. That's not true. It made it to orbit and landed without exploding. So this article is a little wrong. They purposely landed and then let it tip over. So, we're going to do this next flight, which will include an attempt at catching the sending first stage. Is waiting on the FAA, but Musk is definitely worried about the Starship program being smothered by a mountain of government bureaucracy, and the statement requires balancing. When asked why his company seemed to be getting along well with the regulators earlier last year, Rocket Lab CEO Peter Beck remarked, "Well, we didn't explode the largest rocket ever created in the National Reserve." So, again, it landed on their land. So stop. People are just jealous. But Musk's timelines are ambitious. 5 uncrewed starships in 2 years. If all land safety crew missions would be possible in 4 years. If something goes wrong, then Musk said the missions would be postponed by 2 years. Musk said it's only possible to travel from Earth to Mars every 2 years when the planets are aligned. This increases the difficulty of the task, but also serves to immunize Mars from many catastrophic events on Earth. He didn't elaborate on the orbital mechanics. Of course, we know that, sometimes you get there in 9 months, sometimes it's longer. The problem is politics. He says he just can't get moving quick enough. For NASA, sticking a crew in Starship is essential if the agency realizes its dream of returning to the moon. Unlike Musk, NASA only plans to use Starship to get astronauts on and off the lunar surface. The crew is expected to launch atop the agency's SLS rocket in an Orion capsule and then transfer to the Starship to go to the moon, which to me is like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why would you do that and spend all that extra money? But anyway, so again, they've got a lot to go on. But boy, people are seriously doubting Thomas's. You have to set a goal, ladies and gentlemen. You have to set a goal. If you don't set a goal, what's the use? Sure, they're going to have more failures. But, people were saying a couple years ago, he'll never land a rocket. And look what they've done now. I got a fly in here. It's dive bombing me. Driving me crazy. Moving on, a court has ordered Google to uninstall pirate IPTV apps sideloaded on Android devices. Now, do you guys know about sideloading? You can do these on Fire Sticks. You can do it on Google devices. And sideloading is putting an app on that is essentially a dummy app until you use its user interface to put in credentials to connect it to an IPTV service. You go anywhere in Asia, they're all running these IPTV apps. You got 3,000 channels. You got all the movies in the world. You got every single piece of content that's really out there, and it's all pirated. The live stuff is restreamed. I mean, it's just only in the United States where this stuff is harder to get access to. But these IPTV sideloading is where it happens. So Argentina revealed that local ISPs are now required to block dozens of Magisk, M-A-G-I-S, TV-linked domains from violating intellectual property laws. In total, 69 domains must be blocked so internet users cannot access them from anywhere inside the Argentinian territory. The nature list of domains suggests that rights holders focus on resellers of Magisk TV subscriptions. One of the service main domains appear in the list, but as things stand, the damage to availability is likely to be limited and short-lived. Why? They just spin up another domain name. And they're back in business until they whack-a-mole at another domain name. They went after some of the key people that are operating these things. They operate in the shadow, that's for sure. But, and they make this, basically you pay for a year's worth of service for probably about the cost in America of 1 month of cable service. So people are willing to roll the dice and spend $100, $150 to get 1 year of everything in the world being created. And it's no wonder they don't want this stuff to be offloaded, because the companies that are producing this content are losing money in a big way. That's just the way it works. Qualcomm reveals major layoff, hundreds of workers let go. So Qualcomm has announced that it will lay off more than 200 workers in San Diego. The layoff affecting 226 employees are set to take effect November 12th. So that's not that many, a couple hundred here. But again, another whack at employee counts. The Google TV streamer goes on sale today with home panel, sports page, and more. Last month, the Google TV streamer was announced as a replacement for the Chromecast line. It's arriving stores today for $100. As part of that, Google's bringing TV streaming features like the smart home panel and AI to Google TVs from Hisense and others. A few features is the previously announced home panel that's now coming to Google TVs as well. It can see and control all compatible smart home devices, lights, thermostats, cameras, etc., directly in your TV, either with your voice or the Google Assistants. Now, new doorbell notifications also show who's at the front door, etc. So, if any one of you get a Google TV, let me know. I'm a big Amazon Fire Stick fan. I don't buy anything else at this point, but if you do, I'd love to hear from you. There's an AI startup that's supporting artificial voices and the humans who need them. I think this is really, really awesome to be honest with you, what this startup is doing. So let me explain what it is. When David Du Bois, a U.S. Army veteran and retired director of physical security of for the U.S. Capitol, was diagnosed with ALS in 2022, his family spent over 24 months without hearing him speak. Voice AI company Well Said was able to use less than 40 minutes of old voicemails and videos to create a custom voice that matched Du Bois' authentic voice, one with emotion and humor, including his favorite phrase. Ultimately, Well Said, it wants to focus on AI to augment humanity rather than replace humans. While working at Paul Ann's AI2 Institute, nonprofit research center that explores the possibility of AI, Mikhail Portachuk developed a logarithm for realistic AI voice just 3 months after graduating from the University of Michigan. There, he met the future co-founder of Well Said, Matt Hocking. Petrachuk, who is also autistic, was inspired to turn his challenges into opportunities, and Well Said was one of the ways that he thought that they could make a positive impact of the world. So they have competition, of course, from 11 Labs, which is huge, and Murph AI, but they're focusing on a tightly controlled training model that doesn't use public open source data. But the open source data, whether you pay $5 to try out an audio doppelganger or submit to get paid for your voice recording, having Tommy or likely isn't necessarily an option. So it doesn't explain how they used it with this individual, but maybe he was able to type and stuff like that. So there is an interesting story here to this. I've been asked a couple of times to produce this show in Spanish, and all I would have to do is train 11 Labs and then use the transcript to create a Spanish version of this. But the problem is pacing, accuracy, everything that goes along with AI at this point. I've heard some, but the script has to be perfect. You have to have it written and remove weirdness that is going on in any transcript. So I don't know. It's at this time it's not worth the extra lift. How many of you that speak Spanish that listen to the show would like to hear my AI voice do a Spanish version of this show? How about French, German, Arabic? Where do you think? Let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback. It's not inexpensive. I will say that. To do that, we're going to need more budget for sure. Some iPhone 16 Pro users are experiencing touchscreen issues, but apparently there's a simple solution. You have to avoid accidental touches. The newly released iPhone 16 has got some issues, but when the screen in questions are mostly functioning, affected users claim that taps or swipes are occasionally ignored, leaving them unable to interact with their iPhone 16 display at all. Users have also figured out the likely reason for this annoyance. It relates to the phone's accidental touch algorithm being oversensitive. Basically, iPhone 16 Pro screen can become unresponsive if you accidentally rest part of your palm or another area of skin on the edge of the phone display. So I think that's always been the case. And some users claim that the issue only happens when touching the area next to the new camera control button, but other reports such that any part of the display can cause a problem. So don't touch your phone. Don't rest your hand on there, and that will potentially solve the issue. Are you seeing any issues with your iPhone 16? Did you even upgrade? I did not, because I upgraded to a 15 last year, so I'm on a 15 for a while, for at least 2 or 3 years at a minimum. A more expensive iPhone SE might be on the way, and it could even support Apple Intelligence. So that's kind of curious that they're saying that. The iPhone 16 Plus, the iPhone 16 Plus, and iPhone 16 Pro, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max are here. But one member of the Apple Smart lineup is still waiting for an upgrade. That's the iPhone SE. But new leaks suggest a refresh could bring a substantial price hike. It could go $499, a $70 increase from the current price of $429. So we will see. But the main reason for the price hike is to be able to get enough horsepower underneath the hood to get access to the AI. Whoops, wrong screen. 2 Russians and 1 American have returned to Earth from the space station. And they say one thing about the Russians: their Soyuz capsule does the job. So Soyuz capable carrying 2 Russians and 1 American from the ISS has landed in Kazakhstan, ending a record-breaking stay for the Russian pair. Of course, they have not been without their own issues. Oleg Kononenko and Nikolay Chubb returned after 370 days aboard the space station. Also in capsule is American Tracy Dyson, who was in space for 6 months. 8 astronauts will remain in the space station, including American Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams. They arrived in June as part of the failed Boeing project, which, Boeing has not yet been fined by anyone for any of the insanity they've done. But yet they continue to fine Elon at every drop of the hat and try to hinder his activity. Those of you who live in the UK, the NHS has dropped another $1 billion, yes, $1 billion, on tech in the hope of finally going digital. The UK's health system has added $1 billion to a tech deal for software and infrastructure. The NHS Shared Business Service has published a contract notice for the digital workspace solution to Mega Framework, saying it could manage a maximum spend of $2.5 billion in the NHS and other public sector organizations. So another $1 billion. It's just like owning a boat. Just throw another 1,000 at it, right? That's all you got to do. Throw another 1,000 at it, and you'll be all good. It looks like that's what NHS is doing. At the same time, Samsung plans to invest $1.8 billion more in Vietnam for OLED manufacturing. Notice all this stuff is now Vietnam and different countries. They're, it's not necessarily doing stuff in China. This is why the Chinese economy is on the pits. All these companies have moved out, and they're finding the next place for cheap labor. And Vietnam seems to be the place. Of course, manufacturing has been happening in Vietnam for a while. South Korea's Samsung Display Company plans to invest $1.8 billion for a factory in northern Vietnam to produce OLED displays for automobiles, tech equipment, and the Southeast Asian country said on Sunday. The new facility for manufacture organic light-emitting diode displays will be located in Yen Phong Industrial Park in Bac Ninh province, east of Hanoi, and close to existing Samsung plants. So, again, not going to China. And I don't know if Samsung ever did much in China, to be honest with you, but American companies are moving out for sure. UPS supplier password policy flip-flops from unlimited to 32, then 64 characters. CyberPower. I'm a big fan of CyberPower UPSs. I'm going to be honest with you. I consider CyberPower the creme de la creme of power supply UPSs. The machine I have to the right of me, which basically controls a TriCaster and a whole bunch of other gear, is all protected by a rack mount 19-inch CyberPower system, capable of a square. It's a fantastic device. And anytime I replace a UPS from what I own currently, because I've got a couple of different models around here, I always replace them with CyberPowers. One thing that I'll tell you about the CyberPower UPSs is I had one. It had it for many, many years, and the battery basically needed to be replaced. Now, the battery replacement was not inexpensive because the 19-inch rack version of that unit was really, really expensive. Something to the tune of like $700. And when the battery went bad, I thought, oh my God, I have to buy another unit. Nope. I went online and I was able to get CyberPower replacement batteries ordered in, that slotted out as a quick changeover, maybe 10 minutes to change them out, and paid the price for the batteries. That was amazing. And so I've got a CyberPower unit that I was able to upgrade the batteries, a perfectly good unit, didn't have to buy a new one. I've got 2 of the really, really good ones. One's still in the storage unit because it's for the backup TriCaster that I have over there. But other than that, these things are worth and the smaller ones are worth their weight in gold too. So, personal big fan of cyber power systems. Now, according to the register, following pushback from customers, the character limit will remain, but instead be doubled from 32 to 64. It's some sort of character. This must be on a much higher. Could no longer authenticate into CyberPower's Power Panel Cloud iOS app. So I don't have that. That must be a whole nother level of enterprise, because I don't have an app for that. Mine are, you click the switch and you turn them on, and yeah, you've got an internet connection stuff, but I don't use any of the cloud apps with them. But anyway, they made the change there. So a little bit in the news on their part. What else? I think where we're at today in the show is we're close to the end here. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Having a little bit of flip-flop today at the beginning of the podcast because, I didn't have the right buttons ready to push. So a little more QA on my part prior to going. I was running late tonight. My mom invited me for dinner and had Thai food, which was fantastic. So one never turns down a meal that you don't cook on yourself. That's so a little bit late getting here to do show prep, and it was the workday extended as well. But one thing I am watching here, and just to let you guys know, and I'm going to have to keep a close eye on it. I may. I'm having to really watch the data that I'm using. I'm on track to exceed my data allowance of 1 terabyte on Starlink this month. So I'm taking extreme changes to make sure that anything non-essential, that includes my television, is not able to automatically switch into the Starlink Wi-Fi. That, everything from IoT devices, anything, and I'm looking at everything that uses bandwidth, including my Umbro. My Umbro appears to be using quite a bit of data. So that unit is going to get moved onto the point-to-point system. I don't like doing that, but I have to at this point. Every gig at this point counts. So some changes here I'm going to have to make to stay in my data limit. One of the big things that uses up a lot of data is security updates to these computers. So when you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 computers that all need 6 or 8 gig download updates, you want to make sure they're on the point-to-point network where you're on unlimited bandwidth and not getting the update downloaded. So I've turned off auto update on all machines so that I can make sure I'm on the right network when I do a little more work on my part. But when you're burning 50, 60, 70, 80 gigs of bandwidth to update machines every month, better to be on the point-to-point when we're doing the update and save Starlink for the bandwidth. Now, I should be okay all the way through before I depart again. But when I come back after my next long trip, there will have to be a consideration made whether or not I buy a Starlink Mini and run that a month to month when I'm home, so that I have enough bandwidth. It's just the name of the game here. And trying to not to get whacked or go on, what do you call, where they down your they throttle your service. I'm getting great bandwidth, 200 gigs down, 10, 15 gigs up with Starlink right now on just a daily regular basis. So, compared going back to the other connection, which, varies from day to day. And once the leaves get off the trees, it'll be better. But yeah, right now we're max foliage, and the trees are just starting to turn here. So we'll get some relief the next couple of weeks. But then I'll be on the road again, so it won't be an issue. But anyway, trudging away, trying to not spend dollars where I don't need to spend dollars. That's the most important thing. So extreme data measures are in place, and the Mac trying to update multiple Macs from one specific download. Boy, I haven't got that nailed yet. So I need to do a little more reading and figure out how I can have one machine be the machine that is basically the supplier of the updates for all the other computers, because that's really where a lot of data is being burned. All right, so I'll get off in here. Thank everyone for being with me today. Thank you for being a listener of the show. Don't forget, we want you to consider becoming an insider. Email me, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. I'm at geeknews on Twitter. I'm a little behind on email, so if you have sent emails, we'll get through those probably on Thursday. But again, thanks for being here. geeknewscentral.com/insider to become an insider. And of course, don't forget about our sponsor, GoDaddy, as well. It's been my pleasure to bring you the show. I will see you back here on Thursday for another edition. Love to hear your feedback on the podcast. How have I been doing? Has it been hitting with you or not? Anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the Ohana. Take care. We'll see you on